Good morning, everybody. I'm very, very, very pleased as new managing director of the Women's Forum to welcome you here in Paris and to all together engage for impact. You can imagine we saw this now the rising talents, where we want these rising talents to live. One of the big issues in this world who's transforming so quickly, it's where we live, how we live, which kind of city we want to be. And we are here all together to dare to lead in this rapid world. And this world, most of the people will live in cities. Then you can understand why it's so dear to my heart, how we live with the new technologies, how we will balance between quality of life and new technology and business. That's why we gathered some champions, some best champions in the world, those who are the actor, the stakeholder of this transformation. They were there to give us their vision, to say what is possible to do and where we want to go. Because what we want all together is to put the women voices, the woman vision in the future of the cities and where we want to live. Then I will start with somebody who knows very well what we're talking about, because Erin is active in the Sensitive Lab in the MIT, City Lab, sorry. And Erin, please share with us, what is your vision of the perfect city, the ideal city, and what are the possibilities? What are the trends? Where are we going?
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me here. It's an honor to be here with all of you in this extraordinary crowd. I think I'm going to start by being really difficult. I'm going to start by picking apart the term smart cities, and it's a term that's been used so much and so frequently to the point that it's almost irrelevant. Like, what does it even mean? I'd like to say, first of all, that I think that we're faulty in thinking that the just add technology question or the just add tech solution is the correct one for our urban environments. I think that so many problems that cities are facing can't just be solved by dumping sensors, IoT, and studying data. I think that if you think about some of the most pressing issues in cities, ensuring that children don't go hungry and people aren't sleeping on the street, those aren't questions of technology, those are questions of resources. I think that data, of course, is extremely valuable in helping us think about understanding the problems of cities better and helping us to intelligently allocate resources to them, but I don't think that technology is the only answer. The final issue that I'd like to take with this is thinking about, of course that was going to happen, pardon me. Thank you. The final issue that I'd like to take is in the word smart city itself. In thinking about only cities, we're at this point still abandoning about 48% of the population worldwide. We know that by 2050, 6.3 billion people are going to be living in cities, but what about the other 3 billion? We know that in the United States, very recently, we got in real trouble when we started focusing only on cities and leaving people in non-urban environments behind. That's sort of how we ended up with our current president, for which I'm very sorry. It's not my fault. However, I do think that the just add tech solution isn't the right one and that we can't be just thinking about smart cities, but smart communities.
Yes, that is very important. And if you are using some facts and figures, I would like also to remind that the market annual market for smart cities is growing so fast. It will reach 90 billion each year by 2025. That's why, Laurent, you are active in one of the big changers. You are impressive what you do in Singapore by chance and worldwide as a Dassault system. And you are personally very committed to change the world in a better way. I know that since I know you for many times. What are you doing in Dassault system and what can you be done? And especially maybe to focus on e-health, well-being, because this is important to you too. And what is your ideal city?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. Very happy to be here. Sorry for the people in back. Hopefully you don't feel bad. I feel bad for you, but I guess talking about the smart city, let me run the video. I'm going to take you through a journey of different people. Can we run the video, please? And actually the journey of the people, if the video is coming up, is basically how to create what I call a sustainable city. And we're going to accompany a few people in like a young couple who are getting to a new apartments, and through augmented reality, they start thinking about how this apartment could be. Where could I put any type of furniture back home? They get a 2D plan, and they basically said, well, from this 2D plan, maybe I can do a 3D planning, and I can start picking up some of the furnitures that I would like to have in my apartment and positioning it in a 2D, but then creating the 3D view, which is, in our terminology, the 3D experience twin, and using virtual reality, imagining living it, the experience already, and that's what we have. So now from this young couple who got it, let me get into the planner, the architect who is looking at the overall, the building that created and being able to play with different apartments and the setup of those apartments. By the way, this is a digital twin of a real city that we can see here, which is Singapore, where you could really play with this. Now, you are a professional, and Catherine is going to talk to you, where you have to go to a meeting, and what if you could just buy a service to go to a restaurant, and then looking at autonomous drive that's going to get in front of where you are. You get into the car recognizes your profile, your credentials, who you are, what you like, what type of music, and going to use open data to take you to the fastest way to the place you have to be. Now, imagine you are a human planner, and you have to deal with carbon footprint, and it's a subject which is very close to my heart, and how you deal with any type of energy. Here, in this example, which is a true one, this is how you position solar panels on the roof of the buildings, and depending of many factors, temperatures, but wind, here you see wind simulations, you basically decide where to put things, how you build your buildings in order to be to basically reduce the carbon footprint. Real city, which actually is 3D experience twin of a real city that you can see here. Let me finish now. You are a person, a sport woman, and you want to train for a race, whatever it is, and now you're going to basically get in contact with your cardiologist to basically get, you twin. I mean, this is the digital twin of your heart, and in discussion with your doctor, then you can send your data through basically the internet, and the doctor knows exactly who you are, and therefore, based on simulation of a living heart, this person is going to be able to give you the right advice for your training. And here, what you see is a real, it's a simulation of a living heart where you can get into it and understand how all the aspect of art is about. It's been used for training. And I will finishing by saying this, you really get into a personal health, where here you can see a simulation of a stance. So I guess what I want to say is smart city is not science fiction. It does exist today, and we can really live and put the human in center of it.
You can see why simulation that started to design planes can be useful in daily life and especially in health. But to do all that, we need also infrastructures. We need also not only light transportation mobility, we need heavy transportation. Otherwise, you cannot do the last kilometers. And we are very proud and very happy to have you, Catherine, because Catherine tomorrow has a board in RATP. Catherine is just joined as a CEO the RATP, one of the leading mobility champions, if I can say so, in the world, and I'm very proud to be in the board of this beautiful company. And Catherine, please, it's something that I would like to tell. It was not on what we decided, but there is you are the president of the RATP. You have the former president of RATP who became minister of transportation. You have the president of the region who is at the head of the authority in charge of regulation of transportation. That means 3 very powerful women who are designing the destinies of mobility in Greater Paris. Will it be a special vision? Will you do something different than if it meant? I'm sorry, it's a tricky question, but I think it would be interesting for us to know.
It's a good, sorry for my voice, by the way, I'm very happy to be with you this morning. It's a very good question, because after all, I will say one of the elements that women could bring is concrete. And I will be very concrete, Laurent, because you show effectively a kind of science fiction model. But my company, no, I know, I'm joking, but my company, who is RATP, is in fact number 5th in the world in urban transportation system. And we are, in fact, a key player and probably the best partner solution for smart cities. And I will take 3 minutes to explain concretely why. The first one is because we are working on 3 aspects: smart mobility, smart energy management, and smart buildings, because we are much more than a mass transportation corporate company. The reality is the following. When you look at the future, congestion and index is already very high. In a city like Paris, it's already 45, 48 for London, 58 for Beijing. And obviously, you can consider that above 30, you start to have quite material problems. RATP is doing many things around it. The first one, obviously, we have a very smart mobility strategy, which is not only to do mass transport traffic, but to find a way to have a multimodal system in order to deliver to you as a customer a door-to-door trip. And so for that reason, we invest a lot, for instance, in startup. We make deals with Waze Up, which is a car sharing. We make deal with Communoto, which is obviously also a carpooling. We are doing VTCs in order to prove to everybody that we could transfer you from one point to another with a mix of multimodal activity, which is absolutely key in order to decrease the pollution and the congestion index. In addition to that, and it's very linked to what you said, it is that we need to be very personalized in the digital application that we give to people. It's a mix of mass transportation and micromanagement of the desire of the people to be moved. And for that reason, we have also invested a lot in application for the customer. And for instance, if you are a tourist in Paris, for some of you, you can go on our appli, Next Stop in Paris, and you will see how it works. And it's a very good example of what we are doing. The main issue that we have, obviously, is to help cities for the congestion and the pollution. We have a very iconic program in course, so it's very concrete. We want to help Paris, and Mrs. Valérie Pécresse was here this morning, to be the first city in the world to have a 100% clean fleet for the bus in 2025. This will have a remarkable impact on noise, pollution, and obviously fluidity in the city. By the way, we are not doing only that. We have a very ambitious program to diminish carbon emission. You talk about it. Guess what? We were the first company in 2006 to have a program on that. And the next target is very high. You know that because you are in the board. We want to diminish our carbon emissions by 50%, 50, since 2015 and 2025. And the program is already in place, obviously helped by the one, for instance, I just mentioned, like the bus, the clean bus for Paris, but it is not the only one. And we will also diminish 20% our energy consumption, because we are doing many, many things. Just an example, we revamp of the lamp of the metro system, and we diminish by half, revamping by LED all the consumption in electricity. By the way, we are also an architect of the cities. It is not really well known, but in Paris, RATP has 300,000 meters of office, 54 industrial sites, and we are working on very innovative projects. I just give you an example. You have a bus depot, a bus center, with a maintenance associated with it, plus social housing, plus private housing, kindergarten, and garden at the top on the rooftop. And programs like that, we have 20 in association with Ville de Paris, Paris City, to do it till 2025. So for us, it's this aggregation we have of at the same time, vision, ability to develop in many areas, transport, building, technology. We are really a very good, I think, example of concrete example of what we could bring to a smart city, and also obviously try to work in an ecosystem, because we are not alone, but transport is really a key part of the issue for the smart cities of tomorrow.
Thank you, Catherine. I would just take the opportunity to highlight the importance for the Women's Forum, for the manifesto for the climate change. You know that we launched in Rome, and it's very important because women are the first to suffer about the change in climate, and we really want to support the agreement in Paris. Then please, if you feel free to support and to sign it, because what the RTP is doing and what many of our partners are doing, it's very important really to preserve our planet, and we have really to be committed on that. I wanted also maybe to hear what Laurent, the other Laurent Tröger, who is the CEO of Bombardier Transportation, is going to do, because you are an industrial active worldwide, and you're also transforming the way of transporting people, the way of taking in account what they need, not only the comfort, the flexibility. Then what's your vision of the city, the perfect city? And I just wanted to, at a personal note, we met in Leipzig for the ITF meeting, and I was very impressed of what you do personally to promote women in your business, who's supposed to be a male business. Then thank you so much for what you're doing. It's a good example also in heavy transportation industry, how women could be at the right place to do good performance. Please, Laurent, give us your vision.
Okay. First of all, I'm very pleased to be in Paris. One of the city that may change. Bombardier Transportation is in fact working in 375 cities on the planet. So we start to have a good pulse about what is changing. And there is the first thing that I want to tell you is there is not enough women in this job. If I take my company, we are one of the leaders in this. We have 20% female. And I launched a program to increase this, and this is one of the reasons I came here. We want to attract women in this industry, and there is a lot.
Young talents, do you hear?
And I want to tell you why I think it's an important moment. We all agree that there is a significant increase in the mobility needs, and the first aspect is about capacity for me. We need to bring more capacity there. And the issue we have is that if you want to reach a higher level of capacity, you need to go to automation. And then if you go to automation, means that the job of today is going to be changed. And when I say automation, it's not about driving train or driving vehicle. It's also everywhere that you interact with the public transportation. So you can have automation when you take your ticket, you can have automation when you drive train, you can have automation also when you maintain train. But the same with infrastructure. And when you go for automation, of course, it means a dramatic change in the job. And I can tell you we have experienced that over the last 20 years. And I can tell you that 80% of the job of tomorrow, of today, are going to change. 80%.
80%.
Yeah. So when you are there, what does it mean for the job of today? When you have a job which is going to change, and how are you going to change that? And this is one of the reasons why you have a lot of resistance in many cities on the planet. And they don't want to change because they don't know what type of job they are going to provide. Now, what is the job of tomorrow? So you start to hear some buzzwords such as city planner and city architect, etc. This is okay. Now, when I work with 375 cities, and I said, I go to universities, and I said, what are in fact the training and the job you are preparing for tomorrow? And then you go and it says, how many, for instance, if I go to France, how many universities have a program about city planning or city architect? How many great schools are doing that? How many great of our schools are preparing the urban planning? You don't have a lot. So there is a huge opportunity to revisit also the program, the educational program, and to translate that into new job and then to bring the new job into reality. And here, this is where women, you have a tremendous opportunity because those new jobs are also for you and not specific to men. So in this change of job, you have a unique opportunity to come back and to bring then after your influence. So now let's go into what's going to change again. Because automation is one area where you provide, in fact, more capacity. But the second element is we have infrastructure, in particular in our mobility world, that is barely used. So if I take a tunnel, for instance, and you say, okay, how many trains are moving in a tunnel every day? And I compare the same with a network, a telecom network. A telecom network today does not fail. It's a 24/7 usage. You don't stop a telecom network. You go into a bank and you have a trading market. It does not stop. It's 24/7. Now, when you are into our world of mobility, the infrastructure is not used more than 40%, 50%. It stops at night. When you go into an infrastructure and you stop at midnight, you restart at 5, and you say, why is it so? Why is it so that we're investing so much money in infrastructure, we don't use it? And then people say, we need to move people. And I said, we need to move more and more people. But let's go now to the other angle, which is moving goods. And then you have the revolution of retail. How retail is going to change? Look at what Amazon is driving. They are driving a complete reshape of retail, which means that now you go on your platform, you buy, you want to be delivered in an hour. But where is the good coming from? How do you move the goods? And now you discuss with the logistic people, how are they going to move the goods in the city? They are going to multiply by 5 the number of parcels that they need to deliver to your home. But how do you do that? You want to bring the truck into the city? No. So you need even more capacity, not only to move people, but also to move goods. So it means that your infrastructure has to work now 24/7. And then it's a complete challenge, because I don't know how the cities are going to do that. So then you say, I can go to the third dimension, so I bring drones.
But it is not the third dimension. We already use drones in order to look, for instance, our train maintenance. So in the network. So it is not science fiction.
And I can tell you, we are using drones as well to do that, and this is going to the automation. But now I'm moving people and moving goods. I don't see that we are going to move all the billions of parcels by drones. We need more than that. And this is the challenge we have. I think we have a dramatic challenge to optimize the utilization of infrastructure. And why it is so important? Because today, public transportation is based on public debt, which is at the end of the day is a tax issue. But then we need to recover an economic system or an economic equation that works. So we need to connect that to something that is sustainable. And there is something where this is very important, because if public debt becomes a burden, you cannot change the city. And some of the cities are facing a major challenge because they have too much debt. And I said we need to find the right economic model, and there is a huge opportunity. So my message to you women, it's a moment of truth for you, because you have the opportunity to reshape this and to bring something completely new with a softer approach. And what I discussed last week with Vienna City, they have a beautiful program to arrive, and they said on top of that, if you do the last mile, walking, 30-minute walk per day is very good for your health. You can also increase the life expectancy between 2 to 7 years. So it's good also to walk.
Lauren, thank you so much, because we heard the challenge, we heard the solutions, we heard a positive note. Let me just, because we're running out of time, I'm so sorry. Now we had your idea, your vision, your solutions. I would just, in a few minutes, each of you, which is your own commitment, because now we dared, and now we have to take action. Erin, what is your personal action, what you want to do coming up from here, and what you would advise to do?
Sure. First of all, to piggyback a little bit on what Laurent was saying, I think the future of automation taking people's jobs is certainly terrifying for a lot of folks, but it brings forth a huge opportunity as far as education. Not just what are we doing in the university systems and in departments of city planning, where I happen to come from at MIT, but much lower than that. What are you going to be teaching your children who are 6, 8, 10 years old? What should they be studying? The sort of siloed approach to education of taking just one discipline isn't going to cut it anymore. The children who are coming up into the university systems are going to have to be multidisciplinary, meaning omnidisciplinary for the future. As far as my concrete aim, and
this is a concrete one. It's a call for action from others. It's a very concrete one.
So I have one more.
Yeah, of course.
My sort of second idea as a concrete charge is that cities in the future have to be making data available in open platforms and having development tools available for the citizens to be making their own solutions. What we found at the bleeding edge of smart city solutions in 2010, sort of the people in a room making decisions for everybody else, isn't going to cut it anymore. We have to find ways to make data democratic, accessible, and available to people so that citizens are making decisions and designing their own roadmaps for the future in a very bottom-up way. The top-down way that we've been doing thus far is not going to be successful moving forward.
Second very good call for action for the governments and the public authorities. Laurent, what is your call for action?
So, first of all, I don't want to talk about smart city anymore. I would like to talk about experience city, because at the end of the day, that's what we do as citizens, passengers, patients. I think our company is really here to provide a 3D universe to imagine how to harmonize product, nature, and life. And city are the right location for doing it. So commitment, we've already working with large cities. Some of the pictures you've seen here are coming from Singapore, also city of Rennes. So my commitment is to engage with as many cities as possible, like obviously city of Paris or the Grand Paris, as long as the leaders of those cities are really committed to drive change, because that's what we need.
Good call for action. Catherine, and you, what you dare to do in the RATP?
So RATP, as I explained, we will cut by 50% the carbon emissions. I think it's really a true one, this one, which will be measurable. We are in 14 cities in the world already, Hong Kong, Washington, and I really think that as a part of the ecosystem of smart cities, we are doing a lot because we are the best provider in terms of transport solution, system, and also obviously solutions. So I think that the expansion of the model worldwide, our ability to show each time that what we do in Paris, we can do outside. And I think we have some good commercial contract coming soon. We have already signed, for instance, the tramway of Casablanca. When you do things like this, you change totally the visage of the city. And I think it's really the mission of the RATP.
We have an important delegation from Saudi Arabia, and I would just point out that RATP is the one who would make the public transport system in Riyadh. That will be a way for women to go wherever they want.
Yeah.
Thanks
and we are in Doha too, for those who are in the Middle East.
You see women change the world. Laurent, last but not least, what is your call for action? What are you wanting to do?
Okay, so my call for action is very simple. I have decided to mentor one woman in my organization that could become my successor. And I will mentor one woman, which is not in my company, to be my successor too.
This is action, not call for action. This is already action.
Exactly. And what I'm expecting from that is that we bring the soft factors into the equation. And today what we have is that the mobility equation, what you have is out factors, but there is a lot of soft factors to bring in. You have this, and we need it. And if you are at the right position, at a leading position such as you can bring the soft factor in the equation. And then the world starts to change. And so you have a huge impact for the future. So I count on you.
Thank you so much. I would just say one word. What we want at the Women's Forum is give our vision, of course, because we want cities for life, for everybody, inclusive, human, to put the human being at the heart, at the core of everything. And I think that if we all together, we work on that, we can make it. Thank you so much, and please close this wonderful panel.